Fairchild crew crashed in Kyrgyzstan, and tomorrow the U.S. Air Force will explain what caused the tanker to break up in midair. Captains Mark Voss and Tori Pickney and Tech Sergeant Trey Mackey were killed May 3rd, just 10 minutes into their aerial refueling mission. Tonight, KXLY4's Jeff Humphrey working for you with what we know about the crash and how the investigation could impact national security.
Right now, the United States couldn't fight a war or even get to most battlefields without KC-135 air tankers. So when one of them crashes, finding out why is a matter of our national security. The ill-fated plane had just taken off from the Manas Transit Center. This airstrip halfway around the world was Fairchild's home away from home. And from here, Spokane-based crews refueled the warplane supporting American troops on the ground in nearby Afghanistan.
And each and every day they are saving lives because they're passing fuel to receivers, fighter aircraft, bombers, reconnaissance aircraft that are engaging with bad folks on the ground and taking care of business.
KXLY traveled to the Manas Transit Center in 2010 and was scheduled for another visit last year when word came that a tanker had crashed just moments into its mission.
I was working in the field and heard the sound of explosions, saw a great fire. That fire fell and broke in 3 pieces when it hit the ground.
Because photos from the crash site showed the downed aircraft was assigned to McConnell Air Force Base in Kansas, it seemed Fairchild would be spared the tragedy. Unfortunately, the air crew had borrowed the McConnell plane for that day's refueling mission, and the bad news hit Spokane hard.
I remember them as 3 great airmen, and that makes it harder for me to know them, but I'll be able to remember them that much more, and I'll always remember their smiles, all 3 of them.
While Spokane mourned the loss of its air crew, the Air Force set out to find out what caused the crash. For example, investigators immediately tested the transit center's jet fuel to make sure it wasn't contaminated. They listened to the conversations the crew was having in the cockpit in the moments before their plane was torn apart.
Anytime there's an aviation accident, the Air Force takes great pains to make sure we get the information out so we can continue to be safe as we fuel freedom.
Air Force investigators have studied cell phone videos that show the tanker falling to the ground in several burning pieces. The smoke led to a spot where the fuselage, including the cockpit, had crashed into a ravine. But here, in a totally different location, search teams found parts from the rear of the aircraft that showed no signs of fire damage. Most significantly, the rudder of the plane had separated and was missing from the tanker's tail section. Shell 77 had been torn apart in midair and caught fire only after the breakup. The reasons why that happened will be answered by the Air Force's Accident Investigation Board on Thursday.
And that will be publicly releasable information on the accident, and that will likely come out here in March, and we will make that available to you so you can let the community know how our airmen lost their lives.
The cause of this crash is important to more than just the friends and family of the crew. Did this plane break apart because it was 50 years old, or do air crews need more training to help them overcome the series of problems that brought down Shell 77? Tomorrow we'll finally have some answers to those questions. Reporting in Spokane, Jeff Humphrey, KXLY4.